Hello, I'd like to welcome you to my introductory guide to natural conception. This class is for you if you are planning to or have already started to try and conceive, if you have an unexplained infertility diagnosis, or you might have an infertility diagnosis, but you're looking for some information on lifestyle changes and holistic healing practices to help boost your fertility. To be clear, some parts of this course will only be relevant for heterosexual couples, but I will also be sharing some very important information for same-sex couples, as also if you are trying to conceive without a partner. To begin, to give you a short overview of some of the topics we're going to cover today. So I'd like to teach you some important points to consider when you are trying to conceive naturally. I'm going to go over very briefly how to chart your cycle, some important points to consider before, during, and after intercourse, something that's not talked about very often, how to achieve optimal egg and sperm quality, as well as the importance of mental and emotional health as related to your fertility. So very often we look at the physical body and the mental and emotional piece get left out. So that's why I'd like to touch upon that. And throughout the course, I will be sprinkling some reliable fertility resources that you can consult for more information so that you can really feel empowered on your trying to conceive journey. So first, a little bit about me. Who am I? My name is Lauren Enright, and I am a birth doula. I am a fertility doula. I'm also a yoga instructor. I teach prenatal and postnatal yoga. I also teach fertility yoga. And I am an educator, really, at my heart. I'm a teacher. I used to be a high school science teacher for many, many years. And now I continue to teach, but just with a different audience and with different subject matter. So to begin, I want to look at the odds. Often women come to me. I see women online who are worried when they don't get pregnant after a very short amount of time. They start thinking about going to the fertility clinic to find out what's wrong. But when we really look at the odds for the average healthy couple, the odds of conceiving in any given cycle are only about 20 to 25%. So that's really only 1/4. So that translates into odds of only 6 out of 10 couples actively trying to conceive. So that means that you're having sex 2 to 3 times per week will get pregnant within the first 6 months of trying. So that's only a little bit more than 50%. If we look at the first year of trying, 8 out of 10 couples will succeed. And if we extend that to 18 months, now we're looking at 9 on 10. Okay, so this is here to just give you a bit of perspective and also to give you a little bit of hope. If you've been trying to conceive for less than 12 months, please be patient, give yourself time. In the work that I do, I am often surprised to see how many women, unfortunately, don't understand their bodies. So this might seem obvious, right? But in order for us to get pregnant, we really need to understand how our body works. We also need to understand how our partner's body works, and we need to understand how they work together. So I'm not going to provide too much insight into that today, but we will touch briefly upon charting your cycle. So number 1 rule for natural conception is we need to know when we are fertile. Often too much emphasis is put on ovulation day. We look at timing intercourse during ovulation. But what a lot of people don't know is it's actually those 3 to 5 days leading up to ovulation when we are going to be at our most fertile phase of our cycle. So what does charting mean? Charting doesn't mean just entering the start date of your period and the end date of your period into a fertility app. That does not give us, although it can give us a little bit of an idea of when we're going to ovulate, that's not really giving us all of the information we need. So charting means taking our basal body temperature every day in the morning before we get out of bed. It means looking at our patterns of cervical mucus, and it could also mean looking at your cervical position. Now, learning how to chart properly takes quite a bit of time, so I'm going to suggest that you read a book or you take one of the courses from the websites listed below in order to learn more about how to really properly chart your cycle. So I can't emphasize this enough. super, super important if we're looking at conceiving naturally. And also if we have any reproductive issues. So very often when we really look and kind of dive into and investigate the patterns in our cycle, we can start to figure out what could be going wrong in terms of our hormones. Next, coming to intercourse. So how do we make the most out of our time under the covers? So I think this is one of the topics that doesn't get talked about enough. So we're expected to know, well, of course, the birds and the bees, as we were taught in school, having intercourse, having sex makes babies, okay? But there is a little bit more to it, again, to try to optimize our chances of conception occurring. So often we will learn that we have to have a lot of sex, right? But sex really needs to be timed properly, right? So when we know that ovulation is about to occur, it's a good idea to be having sex every other day. So how do we know when ovulation is going to occur? Well, yes, we can use the ovulation predictor kits, but again, by charting and really looking for our egg white cervical mucus, this is going to tell us and be the sign that our body is ready to bring those sperm up to meet the egg. If you've never seen or you don't know what to look for when it comes time to looking for that egg white cervical mucus, some of its qualities are it's stretchy, it's slippery, it's watery, it's clear. And this should last from 3 to 5 days. So if you're not getting that egg white cervical mucus for around 3 to 5 days before ovulation, then it could be a sign that your hormones are out of balance. It could mean that you have low estrogen. And nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle factors are all things that could actually help this. I would suggest that you seek out the help of a nutritionist or of a naturopath to help you with that. Foreplay, something that might get overlooked when having sex starts to become and feel like a chore, right? But foreplay is important. Foreplay will improve your cervical mucus production, will also increase the flow of your hormones. There is a study that showed that men actually produce more sperm when they're turned on by their partner than when masturbating. In terms of the position for intercourse, missionary position is going to allow for penetration closest to the cervix. So it's getting those sperm, those swimmers, a chance, just a little bit of a head start when it comes to reaching the egg. And after sex, you want to look at staying put for about 20 minutes. Now, you don't need to stand on your head. You don't need to, put your legs up the wall. But again, if we're looking at really optimizing our chances for fertilization to occur, we don't want to have to make sperm fight gravity. When it comes to lubricants, sexual lubricants can interfere with fertilization. So this is something that a lot of people don't know. What lubricants do is they make the vaginal tract very acidic. Sperm don't live well in acidity. So if you need to be using lubricants during intercourse, then there is a special type of lubrication called a pre-seed lubricant that you can find on Amazon or other online stores. Saliva, very similarly, it has digestive enzymes, and those digestive enzymes can actually stop and inhibit the sperm from swimming. So if you find yourself using saliva as a lubricant during intercourse, then again, a good idea to maybe look for that pre-seed lubricant. If you're looking for more information about this, a lot of the sources that I'm citing come from a book called Making Babies, which is written by Sammy S. David and Jill Blakeway. Sammy is a medical doctor and Jill is a licensed acupuncturist. So it's a really nice book where East meets West in terms of their perspectives on fertility. So moving on now to your environment and your health. So at this point, we cannot deny that our environment plays a big role on our health. You might have heard the statement, you are what you eat. But it goes beyond just what we eat. We need to be looking at, well, what containers is our food coming in? What are we warming? If we're warming up our food, what types of containers are we warming it up in? What types of cosmetics are we putting on our body? What types of cleaning products are we using in our houses? Okay? So if we are using synthetic products, if we're using plastics, okay, all of these materials, they contain different phytoestrogens, xenoestrogens, okay, different types of chemicals that can get into our body and actually wreak havoc on our body's natural state. And this can lead to health problems, and it can also lead to fertility problems. Studies show that environmental toxins can actually affect the quality of your sperm and of your eggs. And egg quality has been found to be an important factor in determining whether or not an egg will be fertilized. So a lot of this work comes from, well, the research itself doesn't come from Rebecca Fett's book, but Rebecca Fett is an author. She wrote a book called It Starts with the Egg, which I highly recommend. And in her book, she cites a lot of studies that have been done on chromosomal abnormalities and fertility. And in these studies, it's shown that chromosomal abnormalities are actually one of the most important causes of early miscarriage and of failed IVF cycles. It's also the reason why it takes older women a lot longer often to conceive. The good news is that something can be done about it. So we used to think that nothing could be done about it, that once the quality of our eggs and our sperm was compromised, that this wouldn't actually change. But now we know that this isn't the case. Good for us. So how do we achieve optimal gamete quality? Gametes are the sperm and the eggs. One of the biggest ways we can do this is via nutrition. So what do we need to do when we're looking at improving our gamete quality through nutrition? We want to think about eating fresh, seasonal, organic food in its natural state. We want to consume whole grains, colorful fruits and vegetables, healthy fats, sufficient protein, alkaline foods, so that means foods that are not acidic, as well as, of course, consuming plenty of water. Foods that we want to try to avoid trans fats, very refined grains, so looking at that white rice, that like white flour, white bread, processed foods, refined sugars, heavy metals, which are sometimes found in fish, aspartame, which is found in diet soda drinks, as well as MSG, and a lot of Asian food. Eating organic, very important, when it allows you to avoid pesticides and chemicals and any synthetic additives. So I know that eating organic is not always accessible for everyone. So if eating organic is difficult for you, what I suggest is to really pick and choose. So organic meats, if you're going to be consuming animal protein, is probably one of the most important choices to make, first and foremost. And then we look at choosing fruits and veggies that have the least amount of pesticides in them. And you can actually look at the Dirty Dozen. You can just Google it, Dirty Dozen, and you'll actually find a list of some of the fruits and vegetables that you definitely want to be buying organic. Limiting caffeine and coffee. So studies have shown that caffeine can actually decrease the flow of blood to the uterus, which can interfere with implantation. So this could actually increase the risk of miscarriage. Limiting alcohol, also very important, not only for women, but also for men. Alcohol can affect fertility in men because it's toxic to sperm. And if you see, I purposely use the word limit here in both of these cases. Some people might want to choose to eliminate it altogether. However, my personal opinion as a fertility doula, also the opinion of a lot of naturopathic doctors out there, is that it's important for us to also have a little bit of joy in our life. So if eliminating caffeine and alcohol is doable for you and you're still able to have joy in your life, then by all means go for it. But also don't beat yourself up if you're having, a coffee every, a few times a week or a drink a few times a week. When it comes to sperm quality, scientific research shows that having a cell phone in our pocket could negatively impact the quality of sperm because of the heat. So other things that are going to be heating the groin, the area of the testicles, sitting all day. So yes, a lot of us have jobs that involve sitting, but we can just get up, walk around from time to time. It's also good to stretch the body. Taking hot baths or showers that are overly hot on a regular basis, as well as wearing tight-fitting underwear. So some considerations for men to take into account. When it comes to achieving our optimal egg quality, as well as optimal sperm quality, I recently read an article about this, we want to look at adding some vitamins and supplements. So when it comes to the world of vitamins and supplements, it can get very confusing. There can be a lot of information and misinformation out there. So I highly recommend that if you're looking to add some supplements to your diet, that again, you consult with somebody that's certified to do this. So a certified naturopath, a certified nutritionist. If you're not going to go the route of consulting with someone, then definitely it's a good idea as women to be taking a prenatal vitamin while you're trying to conceive. So for more resources about this, it starts with The Egg by Rebecca Fett. Woman Code by Lisa Vitti is also a very good book. And again, Our Making Babies. As far as websites go, naturalfertilityinfo.com has a wealth of very good resources about all of the subject matter. And I highly recommend checking out their website and subscribing for their newsletter. They have some gems. So finally, mental well-being and fertility. So again, often we look at the physical body and the mental component gets overlooked. And I love this quote by Sammy S. David. We can't always stop the causes of our stress, but we can change our reaction to stress by using mind-body techniques. So what are mind-body techniques? You might have heard that. It's a bit of a buzzword today. So meditation is a mind-body technique. Breath work, so just sitting, focusing on our breath, different breathing exercises. If you practice yoga, you might know of this as pranayama. So breath work is definitely a way for us to work with our mind and body. And guided visualizations. So when someone's using words, this is used in hypnotherapy and also used by a lot of yoga teachers when we start to imagine thoughts. If this is new to you, try starting gently. 5 minutes a day is a nice amount of time to begin with. Just like any muscle in your body, the more you utilize it, the stronger it's going to become. So if you are looking to incorporate mind-body techniques and make them a part of your lifestyle, then definitely consistency is going to be key. Formal practice would look like meditation, so where you are sitting in stillness and observing your thoughts. There's a lot of great apps out there that can help you with this if this is new to you. A less formal or more informal practice would be a practice that we call mindfulness. And mindfulness is similar to meditation, but it's something that we can do pretty much at any point of our day, be it driving in the car, be it doing dishes, be it taking a shower. And it's just really centering our mind in the present moment and observing the sensations of whatever activity it is that we're doing. So for more resources on this, Conquering Infertility is an excellent book. One of my personal favorites that I recommend to a lot of my clients, Stick It To Me Baby, Inserting the Spirit of Science into Infertility. I think I said that wrong in the slide, by Danica Thornberry. She is an acupuncturist in California. Circle and Bloom is a website that has a few free guided visualizations and meditations, and a few of them are paid. So definitely a resource to check out. And the 16%, an excellent website that are tales and stories of infertility written firsthand by women and couples themselves. So in a nutshell, to summarize everything that I've gone over briefly today, natural conception takes time. Okay? So if you're beginning to lose hope and you're starting to think that natural conception just isn't for you, and it's been less than a year, do give yourself that 12 months. Of course, if you're over the age of 35, then we might want to look at expediting this a little bit. So usually if we haven't conceived naturally in 6 months when we're over the age of 35, then that would be the time to start thinking about going to get checked at a fertility clinic. Natural conception involves having a very good understanding of your cycle, and you can achieve this by charting. When you're charting, again, we're looking at taking our basal body temperature, looking at our cervical mucus, as well as cervical position. Don't forget, don't underestimate the power of your lifestyle and your environment on the quality of your gametes, of your eggs, of your sperm. This also applies to those of you that might be doing fertility treatments. When we're going to go to harvest those eggs, to retrieve them, we want the best quality follicles. Your fertility is not only a product of your physical health. So we do need, when it's cases of unexplained infertility, we do need to be looking beyond the physical body. We need to be looking into your emotional and your mental health as well. And finally, please know that if you are struggling, you do not have to do this alone. There are so many different specialists out there that can help you. There are specialists that focus more on the physical body. There are specialists that can help you with your diet. There are specialists that can help you if you have any past trauma. If you have anything that you're holding on to that really needs to be healed, you do not need to do this alone. There's sound healing, there's Reiki, there's hypnotherapy. Okay, so this whole list of specialists I have here, there are specialists that are, in this case of acupuncture nutritionists that actually specialize in fertility. And when you're working with someone like me as a fertility doula, we can help refer you to people in your local neighborhood. That's it for my class on holistic fertility. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want you to thank you for listening. And I also want you to thank yourself. Thank yourself for showing up, for listening. And I wish you a beautiful day. Namaste.